because your public comment that you give, once you start giving it, they don't get to determine whether or not it's applicable. But if you use profane language, okay, if you call someone something less than, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. So, but I can make a suggestion from what I heard that would be the court would be aware that if they hear something, a member of the court would then speak to the other members and defend in front of the public and say, I'm saying that we should stop that, or whatever. And then they would basically take a quick head count on that. Is that legal, Philip?
I'm sorry.
Well, so for example, that we were talking about if the commissioner's court, there's a member of the body who was being addressed and they felt as though what they were saying was inappropriate, and they said, I want them to, not be able to speak anymore. Is it appropriate then for other members of the court to then take some type of vote to say whether or not that person can continue with their addressing of the court?
I think if it's in conformance with the rules of decorum, that would call for a procedure like that.
Okay.
Then absent that, typically I would defer to the presiding officer.
Okay, so
then, that would have, the wording would have to change. That would have to be added.
Right, there would be a suggestion that a recommendation that we make to the court to put that in there. So, and I'm writing that down now. Okay.
I know this is probably going much slower than you had anticipated. And
No, I'm fine.
Do you have sort of a timeline of where we might stop and take it up at the next meeting? Because I know they've already left, and I'm going to have to leave here in the next 20 or 30 minutes. So,
okay.
I mean, I'm not saying we should finish it all today. I just,
yeah.
Do you have an idea about how long you wanted this meeting to go?
Well, it was kind of a meeting to kind of go through this stuff, so I didn't have a specific deadline for the meeting because I didn't want anybody to feel like, we were trying to say, oh, you have to do this by this time or else or something like that. That wasn't my intent, so no, sir.
So we can just go as far and then stop and then continue next time?
We can. Yes, sir.
Well, for one thing, my meter runs out in time.
Oh, gosh, okay.
20 minutes. But
okay, so what I heard so far, I got the opening statement. We're okay with that. I got the addition of the possible online application for public comment, participating with that process, that could have a deadline on it, but that people will still have to be able to come in before court to get that and participate if they wanted to fill it out. I got on interruptions and disruptions. It's kind of what we're going to kind of call it there, that the court, that we would add, because of the language, we would add that the court could have the ability to, and we'll work on that, what that language looks like, but here's what we're going to be asking. That a member of the court would have the ability to question the person's, right to continue to speak based on what he or she was saying that what the court member had determined was out of bounds with what we were saying. And as a result of that, the members of the court would basically take a vote on it because they would be in a procedure. And if the majority said, yeah, you go right ahead, then they could go right ahead and say what they were saying. But if they said, the majority also said no, then that member would have to curtail his or her commentary if it would involve profanity or, threatening language or, there's somebody deemed belittling, whatever the case may be. But but people in the audience would be able to see them publicly take a vote as to whether or not they would continue to allow the person to speak in the manner in which they were speaking. Okay, so, all right.
So you'll word that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So are there any other comments or thoughts on that we haven't covered right now from anybody else? Okay. So one of the things we talked about, we didn't talk about, but that I made a note of, and it's not a big deal here because it kind of happens already, but I noticed that several other counties actually designate areas for media to participate. So, for example, right now, all our media gathers in the back corner of this room. And so what we would simply do is we would actually kind of formalize that to communicate that the media has a place to be during the Commissioner's Court meeting. Not just any time, but during the Commissioner's Court meeting. And they already gather back there anyway. So that really won't be any change. It would just be a procedural thing. So if new members from the media come in who have never participated before in Commissioners Court, they will know that they are welcome to participate and set up their video equipment and all of that in that general area as the media area. Again, this is only related to during Commissioners Court. Also, procedure-wise, members of the media know this already and they act this way, but we're going to formalize it because, again, we noticed that other counties made it a little bit clearer than we do. That during closed meetings, that no recording equipment or media can be in here. And the only exception to that would be if a member of the Commissioners Court or the body, not member, but the body as a whole said that XYZ person, for whatever reason, was what's the word called? Were essential to the meeting, but that probably wouldn't happen. But I'm just saying that just so by way of conversation, that in general, the media will have an area that they'll be in, and no one can leave any recording equipment in the facility during the meeting where the Commissioners Court is meeting during the closed session. So it's general knowledge, but not everybody might not know that, and so we're going to actually document that so that people can be clear as to why I can't do that. All right, so those are kind of some of the other big things that I had, and they were easy for me because, again, multiple other jurisdictions have the same thing. Are there, for any of you who have pulled any other things, are there any other things that we haven't covered today that we kind of want to maybe touch on today and leave some stuff for later? Do you have anything that you saw that?
The only thing I saw was about a pro tem
Correct.
behind the
So,
judge, when the
yeah,
county judge,
I didn't
presiding
know that.
officer is not there, because we don't have anything in place.
Yeah, so-
Now, it's assumed it'll be the senior member, but there's nothing verbal in there.
Right, so we do want to add also, thank you for saying that. I'm sorry, trying to be considerate because they talked to me about the time. But the county judge, it's the presiding officer, we know that. But what we want to talk about is in the event of the absence of the county judge, the senior member of the Commissioners Court, in terms of total number of years, as an elected representative on the Commissioners Court, present at the meeting shall serve as the judge pro tem of the court. However, nothing shall prevent the senior member of the Commissioners Court from delegating this authority to another member of the Commissioners Court. So, kind of simple in our mind in terms of what we saw other counties doing. If the presiding officer, who is normally the county judge, is unavailable for the meeting, then the senior member on the Commissioners Court would be the person who would preside over that meeting. But if he or she decided, I don't want to preside for whatever number of reasons, then they could say XYZ commissioner could do it, and that would be fine. So that is something else, procedural-wise, again, that it's not in there. It's kind of practice, but we need to formalize that so that it's a clear understanding of what's next. Now, again, the public may not be greatly affected by that, but these are some of the things that we haven't lined out that we need to cover to again, make everything a little bit clearer. So anything else from anyone else that we talked about to communicate related to bettering Commissioners Court meetings and rules of decorum and procedure?